Good evening. I'd like to call to order the Monday, September 11th, 2023 meeting of the Culpeper County School Board regular board meeting. Our roll call, Ms. Jamison, all are present tonight. It is now time for our moment of silence. And during our moment, please keep in mind today is the anniversary of 9/11/2001. Please join us for a moment of silence. Thank you. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you very much. Is there a motion to accept the agenda as presented?
Second.
Discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. The motion carries. We are now going to have the presentation of a few of our awards. The ZAP Award, which stands for Zealous Appreciation for Positive Performance. And our first presentation, we'll ask Ms. Hoover to come down, who will announce the recipient of the VSBA Media Honor Roll Program.
Good evening, Madam Chair, Dr. Brads, members of the board. Tonight, we are presenting the VSBA Media Honor Roll, and the Culpeper County School Board has placed the name of Culpeper Media Network on the statewide VSBA Media Honor Roll, calling attention to the ongoing responsible and exemplary nature of their reporting on this community's public schools. From the Accent on Education program to the live streaming of our school board meetings to covering events such as CTE Signing Day, athletic events, and also simultaneous graduations, Culpeper Media Network partners with us and allows to expand our access of all the great things that are happening in CCPS so that many people can enjoy those events and see the successes of our students. So tonight we express our appreciation for Culpeper Media Network's balanced and accurate approach to sharing with this community all the successes achieved by the teachers and students of our school. Their work has aided this community in focusing on the goal of providing the best public schools we can for the children who attend them. And we thank you, Culpeper Media Network, for everything that you do to provide quality coverage of CCPS. And I think Ms. Wooten is going to come down and accept the award. So congratulations, Culpeper Media Network. That's okay. All right.
Thank you, Ms. Hoover. I'll now ask if Ms. Butcher would come down, and she's going to stay with us for a little bit because she will be telling us a little bit about the students who are the silver medal recipients of the FCCLA State Conference Repurpose and Redesign. Ms. Butcher?
Good evening. Thank you all for having us. I'm here representing Family, Career, and Community Leaders of America. We took students from Eastern View, Culpeper Middle School, and CTEC to the state conference in April, where they participated in leadership activities, networked with other students from across the state, and competed in STAR events. We also took students on to nationals in July, which was held in Colorado. And we're going to share a little bit with you what they did at states for their competition. So we have Natalie, Charlotte, and Elena, who competed in repurpose and redesign. and they earned silver medal and 5th place in a huge category of students. And they took old FCCLA trophies, awards, and magazines and repurposed them into some party and event decor. Do you want me to do all of them or just those three? Those three? All right, you three, come on up.
These are our silver medalists. Thank you. Now,
Back for afterwards. All right, so Cassidy is not able to join us this evening, but she earned first and gold in interpersonal communication at the state level, and then at the national level, she earned a gold medal and second in the nation, which was very impressive to hear. And she created a wall calendar outside of the Eastern View cafeteria and kept it up to date with ongoing activities, and communicated and collaborated with the SCA, FBLA, FFA, and had up-to-date activities for our students. And then Anaya competed for the second year in a row in entrepreneurship and earned gold and first for the second year in a row at States. And this year's project was called New Life Art Studios, and she took, the concept was to take thrifted items and give them a second life by decorating them in this art studio she had created a business plan for. And then at Nationals, she earned gold and top 10 in the nation. So, Anaya. Yep, come on up.
thank you, Ms. Butcher, and teams. Now, Ms. Powell, if you would come forward. Mrs. Powell is going to tell us also about the FCCLA and the state conference and national conference.
Hello, it's good to see you all again. The last time I saw many of you was in the spring when we hosted a brunch. Of the students that we took to the state competition, all 9 placed first, second, or third. So I'm extremely proud of our students. 2 of our students, Atlee Barber and Sydney Smith, are not available to join us tonight. They are also volleyball players, but they placed third in our Focus on Children, and I couldn't be more proud of them. For professional presentation, Madison McCall earned bronze. She did a presentation on Eat This, Not That, how students can make good nutritional choices. So Madison, come on up, kiddo. Thank you. Our next group is Isabella Myers and Finn Ploger. They had a very difficult competition. They had to create a sugarless sugar cookie. So they had to use sweeteners that we don't normally think of in sugar cookies. We have all come to love monk fruit, though. So I'm very proud of them. They earned second in the state and gold. And at nationals, they earned silver. Very proud of them. Okay. The next group is the Promote and Publicize group. They placed first at states, and then they placed in the top 10 in the nation at nationals in Denver, Colorado. They did Promote and Publicize FCCLA, where they made students and other members of the community aware of what we do. Those 3 students are Sebastian Gonzalez, Levi Hott, and Emma Catherine Powell. And our last recipient, she placed second in the state and in the top 10 in the nation for Teach or Train. This particular event is meant for children who are interested in becoming teachers to actually have that experience. She planned to teach, and she did teach kindergartners about the letter V. Claire Powell, come on up.
It's a really staging this.
Awesome.
Thank you very much. And now I would like to ask our chef, Jay Cohen, to come down to talk about the FCCLA State Conference and his category.
Good evening, everybody. I didn't know I had to talk.
You get them later.
But anyway, thank you for having us. Before I talk about my student who's not here, and I'll tell you why she's not here, but I want to let everybody know that as a chaperone, as an advisor, as a teacher, these kids were phenomenal because I went as a chaperone to Denver, Colorado with these fine young adults, and it was an absolute joy to be with them and to share their excitement and their enthusiasm and winning and having a good time. So my student, Jessica Hernandez, she placed first in her category of cake decorating. But she also placed first 2 years ago with the Tres Leches cake. And she's whipping by hand, whipped cream, Thursday night, getting her cake ready for Friday morning. When they were announcing, third place was announced, no Jessica. Second place was announced, no Jessica, and the springs under my seat were loaded. First place, I jumped higher and screamed louder than anybody. And it was absolutely amazing to see Jessica come as far as she has, being the petite, quiet student. This past year, she just graduated. She was one of my first lab aides. She competed again last year. The first year with the Tres Leches, she scored a 98 out of 100. Last year, she only scored a 93 out of 100, but she did it again, first place gold medal. Jessica is not here because she's at Johnson & Wales in Charlotte, North Carolina, studying pastry arts. So I'm going to accept her award tonight. She's actually going to be in town this weekend, so she'll come see me. I'll give her an award. But the future that we have here, from the teachers and advisors to the students, big things are yet to happen. And who's taking culinary from CMS? You're on my list. The good list. But it's an honor to be here. It's a pleasure to be here, helping with these students, representing the schools, all three of the schools, as we all work well together. So thank you for having us. Thank you for having me. And if Jessica was here, she could, chef, no, I'm not going up. I'm not going up. But I will accept her award for her and give it to her on Friday.
I'm just disappointed you didn't bring us one of the things.
Thank you very much to everyone. Our next is a student principal, it's the principal report, Culpeper County High School, Dr. Soderholm. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thanks. Hi. Homework.
Dr. Soderholm, I'll try to keep him here. I'll try.
Dr. Brads, board members, we're excited to be able to present to you tonight. I don't get to do this enough, but the best part of my job is with me tonight. It's the students, and I'm sure that's the best part of your job as well. And so I meet monthly with my SEA Executive Council. Oh, wait, I think I got a clicker. I meet monthly with my SEA Executive Council, and each month we talk about the glows and grows at Culpeper County High School. So they talk about the things that are going well and the ways that we can get better every day. And so when I told them about this opportunity to present to you all, they gave me a list of some of the great things that are happening at CCHS. Eventually we had to cut them off because we can only have a few minutes. So I'm going to let you hear from some of them.
Hello, I am Senior and SCA President Willow King. One of the best spaces in our school is our makerspace. We have tools like a poster printer, Glowforge, vinyl cutters, t-shirt presses, 3D printers, an embroidery machine, and a direct-to-film printer. This space gives us an opportunity to show our learning in ways beyond just a traditional poster board or PowerPoint presentation. Ms. Uribe, our school instructional technology resource teacher, helps use the technology for our classwork or as a team or club activity. Their motto is Dream, Design, Deliver. We made the t-shirts we are wearing today in the makerspace. Or we can make fathead signs of our favorite teachers for a school board presentation.
Hello, I am RJ Uribe. I'm a junior and I am the SCA Vice President. We also have diverse course offerings such as Introduction to Leadership taught by Mrs. Hyde, our SCA sponsor, and Early Childhood Education taught by Miss Mullen, where high schoolers are learning how to be teachers and teach preschool. As a member of the Superintendent Student Advisory Group 2 years ago, we talked about the toll heavy course loads have on student mental health. From that discussion, our study hall class was formed to provide time to catch up. Thank you, Dr. Brads, for listening to our needs and taking action. Speaking of difficult classes, not including Virtual Virginia, Germanna Scholars, and Governor's School, we have the opportunity to earn up to 29 college credits from dual enrollment classes because teachers like Mr. Deal, who are certified to teach them, and we also have AP classes.
Hello, I'm Alexa Strickland, the senior class president and the editor-in-chief of the yearbook. The teachers and staff are the best part of our school because they make it all happen. Custodian, Miss Jackson, aka Miss Peggy, is always happy and always asks how you are. And don't let Mr. Meyer's face fool you. He's really nice and shows up to all our games and supports you all the way.
Hello, I'm Eliza Buller. What makes our teachers great is that they care about us. Mr. Searle is one of our art teachers. Our fine art teachers are some of the most popular in the school. I know because I've taken art, choir, and band. Miss Smith is our behavior interventionist. Before we made this presentation, we didn't know what her job was called. We just knew she was always helping our classmates who are having a bad day. CCHS is such a great place. Some of our teachers never leave. We have 20 staff who are also CCHS alumni.
Hello, I'm Carla Torres. Feeling like we belong at our school matters. We celebrate Hispanic Heritage Month and Black History Month each year with art displays, announcements, and school assemblies. This year, I'm on the Hispanic Heritage Month committee and get to speak at the assembly. Last year, Mr. Gonzalez, one of our math teachers, spoke about his life in Nicaragua and how we should take advantage of the resources and educational opportunities we have in our school.
Hello, I am Senior David Johnson. The Medford Basketball League is a friendly sports league for students with disabilities. The games are attended by everyone in the school, and students participate as coaches and referees. I was able to be one of those coaches last year. One of our favorite classmates on the team is Lachelle Butler. The games at CC are like a pep rally, and the road games are a chance for coaches and players to ride the bus together and stop for team meals, just like a varsity sports team.
Hello, I am Ellie Weinkoop. I am SCA Treasurer on academic team and in the National Art Honor Society. At CCHS, there's a club for everyone. Fridays at CCHS, we have club days when we don't have assemblies or Medford games. Half of our club days are blue clubs. Those are extracurricular clubs that students have proposed. We have everything from Bible study club to bike club to spike ball or Dungeons and Dragons. On gold club days, we meet with our co-curricular clubs and honor societies that align with our classes, like jazz band sponsored by Mr. Childs, National Art Honor Society, Chick-fil-A Leadership Academy, and FFA sponsored by Ms. Delano.
Hello, I'm Abby Cruzian. I'm a junior and I'm SCAA secretary. I'm the fourth Cruzian sibling to come through CCHS. We have traditions and a legacy of PDP. For years, the first day of school at CC started with a back-to-school pep rally that has a silly video made by our teachers. That tradition was sidelined during COVID, and as an SEA, we proposed its return to Miss Hyde and Dr. Soderholm, and of course, they said yes. The band and cheerleaders performed, the seniors marched in across the stage, and the video was very funny. Mr. Moorhead was everyone's favorite in the video. The teachers made a grand entrance through the Blue Devil Tunnel. We started a new tradition this year with EVHS. During the week of our football game, our schools competed to see who could raise the most money for the charity of our school's choice. The winner was able to duct tape their principal to the wall during a pep rally and donated the funds raised at both schools to the charity. CCHS won, Go Blue Devils, Forks Up, and Dr. Soderholm got taped to the wall, and we donated over $2,500 to the Culpeper Animal Shelter.
Hello, I'm Tori Norman, social media coordinator for SCA. In addition to having great school and community spirit, we love that we can celebrate our legacy. Two traditions that celebrate our legacy are All-State pictures and the Blue Devils at the Next Level board. If you earn All-State honors, your picture will hang in the school forever like my brother and cousin, maybe until you come back and work at the school like Coach Jennings. The Next Level board is a tradition Coach Nobbs started to celebrate Blue Devils who go on to play NCAA sports. Coach Nobbs is another Blue Devil who returned home. He is on the Next Level board as well. Both of these traditions inspire us and give us goals to strive for. Don't worry, you will get to see me again when I earn All-State honors in track and field.
We're so proud of our students. We love their Blue Devil pride that they show every day in the classroom and at so many opportunities beyond. But we know that all these opportunities come, and they recognize it, from a caring and committed and capable staff who show that Blue Devil pride, and they make our school better every day. We'll be happy to answer any questions that you guys might have.
Are there any questions for Dr. Soderholm?
Not a question, but I did see you taped to that wall.
It was a sticky situation.
It was, and I love the creativity. Keep it up. This Blue Devil Pride is awesome. And, oh, question. When I saw you at the football game, the Cannonball Classic, who were the pictures of? Because I could see them all the way at the visitor section. Who were the pictures of in the
All right, so
stands?
who is in the student section that wants to answer that question?
Yeah.
Come on.
So we have a sports marketing class Ms. Tanner teaches, and her class decided to make big heads of every sport, and a few of the players took some cheerleaders they had or some football players. So you saw a bunch of football players and cheerleaders in the stands that students had.
I was just trying to figure out who those faces were, but they were larger than life. Great.
Other people? Ms.
So,
Smith?
Well, one question. Why wasn't there a picture of you taped to the wall in here? I wanted to see that.
I think that one, oddly enough, that was shared and
Just,
a lot of times on social media. So other people, even outside of our community, were reaching out to me. So
this was a great presentation, and it's not often that I tear up, but I teared up through most of it. So thank you, guys. You did a great job.
And I was just wondering, if 2,500, would you get taped back up on the wall?
yeah, we
Put
could
you
do that
back
for
up
the
there.
right, for a good cause. Absolutely.
Thank you, Dr. Soderholm, and students. You were
Thank you.
great.
Thank you.
Dr. Stoddard, question. Is there a plan for the fatheads?
Yes, so actually there is a plan for fatheads. Anybody want to talk about how somebody can get their own fatheads? Well, somebody that's in sports marketing?
So anyone, students, teachers, or parents can purchase a $20 fat head from the class, and it's a little fundraiser they're doing, and you can get a big fat head. There's a QR code on the back of them if you want to scan and get a fat head for your students.
Well done.
Thank you. That was fantastic, and you better go home and do your homework. Good night. We have one person signed up for delegations, but before I call her up, I'd like to read a little introduction. Persons may present ideas or concerns regarding Culpeper County Public Schools. There will be no action taken by the board at this meeting, and such items will be referred to the appropriate administrators for future information and research. Personalities and behaviors of the employees are not to be presented during this period, but are to be reported to the employee's immediate supervisor. Each speaker shall limit his or her remarks to 3 minutes. No speaker shall be permitted to allocate any portion of his or her speaking time to another speaker. No speaker may address the board more than once per meeting. Delegations wishing to address the board are requested to sign in prior to the meeting with their name, address, and topic. A sheet for this purpose is provided at the entrance to the meeting room. Thank you very much. And Ms. Sheets? You think I would have it memorized. I don't.
So tonight I want to address this recent article entitled 24 Teens Missing from Culpeper, written by Randy Haji. The article documented 24 Guatemalan teens who have gone missing from Culpeper in the last 2 years. This author obtained factual information for her article through research, interviews, and FOIA requests. The author never used the words human trafficking or exploitation in her article, yet the stories of these missing youth allude to these heinous crimes happening here in our hometown. Culpeper is a microcosm for what is happening in towns across our nation. The article exposes the results of open borders. 510 unaccompanied minors have arrived in Culpeper in the last few years. Culpeper County is faced with a major problem that was created at our southern border by negligent federal policies. The disappearance of youth is heart-wrenching and deeply troubling. However, I am grateful that there are individuals who report this information so that more of us can be aware of what is happening in our community. Our school personnel are uniquely positioned to educate, identify, and connect students to services that can prevent trafficking and exploitation. Teachers and staff need training. I know time for teacher training is limited. I remember also that some teachers have expressed interest in training regarding human trafficking and exploitation. There is an informational forum on anti-trafficking in Culpeper on September 19th at Providence Bible Church from 6 to 8 p.m. The forum is open to the public. I am requesting that information about this forum be made known to school personnel so that interested staff on their own time can learn more about this billion-dollar exploitation industry operating in our backyard. I will email the flyer to each of you so that you can consider putting this information out to school personnel and to all your constituents. I also have extra copies with me tonight if anyone in the audience would like one. While doing this research, I came across a flyer with helpline phone numbers for abused and trafficked individuals. It was similar to flyers I've seen in interstate rest area restrooms, which gave me an idea. Would it be possible to post this flyer or similar flyers in high school or middle school restrooms? Connecting students and staff to services can prevent trafficking and even save lives. I'll email you each a copy of what I found. I am sure that there are many such flyers to choose from. In summary, please consider 2 suggestions. Make the informational forum on anti-trafficking known to school personnel, and consider posting helpline information in middle and high school restrooms. I express my gratitude to each of you for all your hard work and dedication to the students of this county. You are tasked with solving many problems our nation has never faced before. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Sheeds. Is there a motion to accept approve the consent agenda as presented?
So moved.
Discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Thank you. Motion carries. We are on action items. We've had the first reading of the Memorandum of Understanding with the Culpeper Sheriff's Office for School Resource Officer. Is there a motion to approve this item for the second reading?
So moved. Second.
Discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Thank you. Motion carries. And before we do anything with action, I would ask Ms. Hutchins if she would please read the resolution for Arts and Education Week.
Whereas arts education, comprising a rich array of disciplines including dance, music, theater, media arts, literature, design, and visual arts, is a core academic subject and an essential element of a complete and balanced education for all students. Whereas, according to Albert Einstein, quote, after a certain high level of technical skill is achieved, science and art tend to coalesce in aesthetics, plasticity, and form. The greatest scientists are artists as well, end quote. Whereas arts education enables students to develop critical thinking and problem-solving skills, imagination and creativity, discipline and alternative ways to communicate and express ideas, and cross-cultural understanding that supports academic success across the curriculum as well as personal growth outside the classroom. Whereas the nonprofit arts sector contributes to the economy and plays an important role in the economic health of communities large and small, with direct expenditures of wages and benefits as well as goods and services. Whereas to succeed in today's economy, students must masterfully use words, images, sounds, and movement to communicate. Whereas the arts equip students with a creative, competitive edge needed to participate in the 21st century economy. Whereas if schools and communities are delivering high-quality learning opportunities in, through, and about the arts for children, extraordinary results may occur. Whereas studies have shown that schools with large populations of students in economic poverty can be transferred into vibrant hubs of learning through arts education. Whereas studies have also found that 8th graders from under-resourced environments who are highly involved in the arts have better grades, less likelihood of dropping out by grade 10, have more positive attitudes about school, and are more likely to go to college. Whereas attracting and retaining the best teachers is vital and can be achieved by ensuring that schools embrace the arts, becoming havens for creativity and innovation. Whereas arts education has the power to make students want to learn not just within the arts, but other areas of study. And whereas art is an integral to the lives of many in our community and can improve the vitality of communities. Now therefore be it resolved that the Culpeper County School Board joins Congress in proclaiming September 10 through 16, 2023 to be Arts and Education Week, and encourages the community to celebrate, participate in, and promote the arts in education throughout Culpeper County. Adopted this 11th day of September 2023.
Thank you, Ms. Hutchins. Is there a motion to approve the resolution as read?
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Thank you. Motion carries. Before we have any vote on the next, I will read the resolution for Bullying Prevention Month. The proclamation is, whereas school bullying has become an increasingly significant problem in the United States and Virginia, and whereas over 20% of the youth in the United States are estimated to be involved in bullying each year, either as a bully or as a victim, and whereas an estimated 160,000 students in kindergarten through 12th grade miss school every day due to a fear of being bullied, and whereas bullying can take many forms, including verbal, physical, and most recently in cyberspace, and can happen in many places on and off school grounds. And whereas it is important for Virginia parents, students, teachers, and school administrators to be aware of bullying and to encourage discussion of the problem as a school community. And whereas the VSBA has developed a model policy on anti-bullying to encourage positive behaviors and to eliminate bullying behavior. Now therefore, the Culpeper County School Board, along with the Virginia School Board Association, recognizes the month of October 2023 as VSBA Bullying Prevention Month, with the intention that the issue of bullying and its prevention be discussed in Virginia schools and classroom during that time. Adopted this 11th day of September 2023. Is there a motion to accept the resolution on bullying?
Second.
Discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Thank you. Motion carries. Dr. Browse is going to give a superintendent's update. Maybe. You do. Oh, you get it? Okay.
Madam Chairman, members of the board, I'm pleased to bring forward some information about what we may know about the budget in the context of the last time we spoke from this position. We did not have near the information that we have today, so this is a good thing. Before I continue, I'm wondering if our audience needs to move forward because they all look so scrunched up in the back row. It's okay to come further, come closer, but you don't have to, so thank you. Just briefly, as you've been advised and we understand that the General Assembly, about 6 months late, has approved the budget. And that was approved last week. The governor has 7 business days to approve what the General Assembly has acted on. All comments that I have seen at this point from the governor is that he is pleased with the compromise that came out of from the conferees, and that pleased with the investment in a number of areas, tax reduction in some areas, but primarily an investment in K-12. On this slide here, what I have is an excerpt of numerous slides that cover multiple key budget policy decisions, but that's beyond what our K-12 experience needs to be. But so I selected a few. The first one is of significance because this is the highest investment in K-12 education ever from the Commonwealth. That 9215.0 million reads like what? $9,215 million. That's a big number to invest in our youth and our staff to support them. So we're very pleased with that. So that's what we're looking at in terms of what the conferees and the General Assembly accepted. And also in this process, I would like to add that what we thought we had or knew about with respect to the terminology of the so-called skinny budget, the budget that was approved to get us through, everything that occurred after that was an addition to, not a compromise of or amendment of. It was an addition to the skinny budget, which is good news. So I want to point out the next page, a couple of things that are very important in this proposal. It's across the Commonwealth for the 131 school divisions, $418 million with flexible payments to cover these items. So we're very appreciative of that. The next item I want to clearly address, and I will say this with the foresight of the board helping us and staff conduct a compensation study. We did a compensation study. We built a budget around aiming high at a minimum 7% increase. Other categories were greater than that, as you know. And in the case of teachers, it was 7% plus a step. That occurred. And we've had our fingers crossed, and toes crossed, and everything else crossed that the state revenue would come to fruition. We did not invest in some other things, which I'll mention in just a minute. But we did that. But to be clear, this is not the General Assembly coming out, wow, there's a new 2%. No, there's not a new 2%. This is 2% on top of the 5%, as you can see on this slide, a total of 7%. Now, that's the good news, but you know the other side of that story. The other side of that story is for SOQ positions. The other side of that story is, if you look up there on the slide, that 2% help that we were looking for and happy to get doesn't technically take effect in terms of the fiscal year until January 1. But we take however much peanut butter they give us, and we will spread that throughout the contracts that we have issued so that our commitment to our employees will be what this board has made to them. So I'm pleased to say that. But to be clear, we are very close to the 7% that I guess sometimes it's good to be lucky and sometimes it's good to be good. But we were both. We were good because of the study, and then we were lucky because of how this turned out. A couple of other quick items. Support staff cap. The General Assembly keeps eating away at that, which is a positive, adding funds back. So in addition to what was done in the quote skinny budget with financially supporting support positions, this was also an increase added to the skinny budget of another $152 million, increasing the number of positions per ADM for support. So that's a big help to our overall budget. Now, we're not getting $152 million. That's spread across the Commonwealth to further support the support positions. So we're pleased with that. Some other small items that, again, support some of the items in the calculations that we will ultimately receive. Mr. Shomel will probably say this later. We do not have a calc tool at this point, but we have a good feel for what these numbers will translate to based on what our enrollment is and based on what we built the budget on. So these are a couple of other items. Last but not least, a focus by the conferees on mental health to include about middle ways down there some money for school and community-based children's mental health services. We're very pleased to see that included specifically. How that will look, what that will be, we do not know, but if we have some flexibility with that, short of a mandate of having certain staff members do something that they're not either trained to do or positions that we can't find. Short of that, we will be happy to take the money and use that to support mental health programs for our children. Next slide, please. Not next slide, but the next document, please. This is a multi-page document that an organization put together showing the initial budget. Remember these days, months and months and months ago, right? The governor's budget, the House version, the Senate version, the skinny budget, and then what was added to that. Numbers are kind of hard to see there, but the point I want to make there is that the direct aid increase is significant over the skinny budget. Also, the 2% salary increase of $54 million to help get us to that 7%. Now, I do want you to notice the next several items. My version is closer to me, so I'll read it to you. Other salary increases, retention bonus, performance bonus, recruitment bonus. There was not a budget proposal that explained how that might work. Retention, performance, really? So when we built this budget in the spring, we did not factor any of those items into our spending plan, right? We factored in what? 7% plus, because 7% plus, all of that will go to the VRS credible comp for our employees. These items do not. They may look good on paper, but it does not help in terms of that overall compensation for our employees. So those items are not included. We reiterated that this past week with our teacher roundtable to say it's 7, that's what we did. We're happy that we're receiving that extra support for those funds. I don't think there's another item on this page other than the flexible spending, which I've already mentioned. But in this package here, you can see many of the tax decisions that were made. And one of interest, perhaps, if I have it here, it's not on the slide. Remember the sales tax holiday to start school? It will be back. It will be back this year, approximately the 3rd week of October, if the governor signs off on the budget. So again, we'll wait and see, but that's also good news. To be effective, yes, the 3rd week in October for 2023. So a bit late on those back-to-school supplies, tax-free, but better late than never. Again, I would like to commend staff for their work on building this spending plan and their diligence in sticking to our collective guns, I would say, in terms of what we wanted to do for our staff going forward. And it's materialized quite well that we're going to be able to execute this budget without too many concerns. Happy to answer any questions you may have about the limited information that I shared. And again, I don't know when, but I hope the governor signs off on the budget very, very soon. Thanks.
Ms. Smith?
Dr. Brez, I think you answered this, but the retention bonus, performance bonus, recruitment bonus, do we have to do those? Is that a requirement that money be used in that certain way?
Not included.
Absolutely. Absolutely not. We did not budget any of those types of bonuses. They're not in our spending plan. They're not contemplated. So thank you for the question. They're not happening. Good news, why? On that screen, they're not funded. They chose to fund getting us to 7%. That was one of the last things the conferee said before going to the summer break was they were trying to find a path to get to 7. And we were saying, we hope so, because why?
We already budgeted.
We built 7. We budgeted for 7. So no to any of those, but also there's not funding for those. Okay? Thank you.
Dr. Bratz, on the last budget, the legislature gave, governor wanted the grocery tax changed. And when they did that, they inadvertently took money away from school systems. Did that ever come back? They were going to work on how to fix that. Did they ever do that?
Yes and no. They applied some additional funds to FY '23, but there was no correction to the grocery tax in FY '24.
So it will go away come January 1st.
What will go away, what will go away?
We get some money in this?
No, no money in this year. We are in '24. We're FY '24, we're in '24, no relief to the grocery tax error. We received an addition to the fix in '23. That's already been given to us, and the electronic funds distributions, that's how, when Mr. Shomo reports that we wound up in the black and maybe a little bit more in the black than we anticipated, that would be a source of those funds coming in from the state. And that will not be ginned up and recorded until we do the audit September, October. So no to FY '24 fixing that. But if they've fixed these other things and they've looked at support staff cap and they've looked at some other positions and salaries, we are very happy with that.
Thank you, Dr. Brads. Are there any other questions? All right, Dr. Brads, did you also want to talk about enrollment?
Just simply that, sorry, turn my mic off. Wanted to share, Seamus, if you want to put that on the screen as well. You have your enrollment report. That is the end of August enrollment report. I added this because this is the enrollment report for the day after Labor Day. And as I let finance know earlier today, that number from the end of August this year to now is up 8 students, so we're at 8235, just under our budgeted amount, but significantly, that's nearly 100 students over where the state has us estimated. So that will be a good thing when it comes to the state in terms of their monthly funding of us and how that works until they gen that up after March ADM, March 31st. So just wanted to share that we did pick up a few more students after Labor Day, actually, as anticipated, but not that many. Kudos to our staff and principals getting those students in here. And if they're not here now, I think those no-shows are probably not going to show unless there's a few extenuating circumstances that we're working with. So thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Brads. Are there any questions? Everyone okay? Mr. Shomo, finance report.
Good evening. The new year begins, and that's what this is all about. The information you have in front of you is for basically July and the new budget totals. Like Dr. Brad said, we're still anxiously waiting a calc tool. That calc tool basically drives everything that we do and lets us sleep a little bit comfortable at night once we get it. And we don't have it yet. But the good thing is, like he said, the numbers that they're working with are about 100 less than what, or about 100 less than what our actual numbers are. So that's really good for our student counts and driving the budget. First one we'll look at is our budget is built on 8347. As of August, we were at 8227, and we've grown a little bit more than that. So that would give us about a $480,000 decrease in state revenues. But with the new numbers, it might work its way out that, you know, it's not going to be as drastic as that, and plus 4 state revenues to get closer to our budget numbers, which is the good thing. So, not to be panicking yet. And the new budget number is $114,178,047 for our operating budget, which is kind of an all-time high since I've been here. And it's broken down by the various percentages, and those percentages are pretty much the same as last year, except for the federal number. It's less than what we were last year, and we're also still trying to finish out those federal numbers. So 5% may be a little light, maybe a little closer to 5%, but we're in a process of trying to get these built out because a lot of the, 2 of the grants has got to be done by September the 30th. But compared to a lot of school divisions, we're ahead of the game in there too, so we kind of hit the ground rolling when they were available. The next one is, went too quick. Next one is the budget expenditures. Basically, all those numbers pretty much stay the same except for we traded out, basically, we had a number last year of 4% in facilities. That was basically put into instruction. Last year was about 75% of the budget was put in instruction. This year it's 75%. And we were able to do that with some of those construction funds that the state gave us that we were still carrying over into this year, that we're still doing some projects right now and going to be doing it through the beginning of the year. We got a couple of those projects is getting ready to take off now. That category basically was a 0%, but we still have money from the state that we were putting in there. Expenditures by month, we only got 1 month, which is basically July. And believe it or not, last July we spent 2%. We spent 2% this month. So we're kind of right on course, and we had 98% of the budget remaining last year this time, and we're right there right now. So no hidden, I'm not gonna wood, and no hidden catastrophes have occurred yet, and everything's doing pretty good. So that's it for tonight. Like I said, we're taking off again. We're trying to land one now. We're still in the process of trying to get all our funds in for last year. We got an audit we're trying to get ready that will be in here probably into October, 1st of November. And that's a real key. And also we're working on the annual state report, which we verify a lot of this stuff to keep our money. So that's got to be done in the next couple of weeks. Any questions? Good. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Shomo. Dr. O'Brien, Operations Report.
Good evening, Madam Chair, Dr. Brads, members of the board. Happy to give you our update in regards to operations. And the very first part actually is going to be a video clip. I know Pearl and I have been working on and hoping will run correctly of this great drone video that Mr. Corbin did for us, illustrating the new green space / athletic field that is going to be located behind the visitor bleachers at CCHS. Interestingly, you could see how that's laid out, the height of the hill, the flatness of it, as well as, interestingly, they discovered a spring underneath it. So we actually have a nice little water supply for when the time comes and we want to actually use that as irrigation for the field when we get it in place. But they did a great job and a quick job. And we are anticipating adding additional parking down the hill as well to support our drivers, as well as for events at CCHS where cars tend to be all over the campus as a result. But it's quite a good video. I tried to do it myself, and I got attacked by a bird. My drone did, so I've been I've been a little more cautious about doing my own drone videos. One advantage as well is we're also closer with that field to the neighboring community over at the Meadows, where they actually have a path that ends just beyond that big tree you can see over on the left. So eventually we could actually connect to that neighborhood as well with some more walking paths. So that's also something we're investigating as this field's happening, helping to open up the door on that. All right. You want to move me back? Okay, and this is, again, looking, now this is from my drone, but giving you a view of the roof of CMS now that it has been completed. You can see also that we had a lot of work done, a lot of the electrical transformers were replaced. So it's really looking good in terms of what a roof should look like. You could kind of see, it almost looks like diamond shapes on it, but that's how they actually use the contour of the roof to funnel the water to the drainage locations. And they also cut in, if you've been by CMS, you could see they raised that parapet and they put little drain holes in it with the expectation if we ever get what they would call a 100-year rain, that water would be able to get off the roof and not be stuck, or that start looking like a swimming pool, if you will, with those parapets that go around it. We are going to do the final walk on September 20th as well. We did some repairs on the digital signs to include, I kind of call it the tale of two signs. So this is Emerald Hills, and that is made with pixel wall, the same kind of thing that we have at CTEC. Unfortunately, when they first installed it, they didn't include that brace where you see the freshly poured concrete at. And we had one of those big windstorms back in the spring, and it actually shook it loose and some of the panels broke off. So because of that, we've had work done. Dr. Gelbert at Emerald Hills has been great in reaching out and coordinating those repairs, and that was completed earlier, well, last week. And we also had to do some repair on the exterior marquee sign over at CCHS because we always have water issues where water's getting into the power supply that's located below it. So our electrician did some work on that as well. But it's certainly something that we're probably going to have to do more of an upgrade in the future. And we did have a tree go down as well on the rear egress from CCHS and CMS, which we had to go and have that removed and chopped up with our maintenance staff as well as some of our transportation staff as well. And yes, I'm looking at Mrs. Jameson because Mr. Jameson helped me pull that tree off of there. And this is our esports arena. You saw some pictures of that last time, and this is kind of what the completed project looks like, where they have the gaming consoles as well as the upgraded gaming PCs all placed up where they will be prepared to compete once their season begins. And in Sycamore Park, we did some improvements, adding more shelf for the Loads of Love program. So that's been key to helping that space be better utilized in the coming weeks and months. We've done a lot in terms of work orders, and we did fix that broken water main out by the softball field and took care of it. Did some work on the grease traps and actually raised the irrigation sprinkler heads, which for the longest time I'm like, well, what do you mean raised? Well, the idea that they were set too low so that when the sprinklers came on, they didn't spread the water the distance that they were supposed to. So they actually had to come out and adjust each sprinkler head to put it where it needed to be. And at the annex, we replaced a condenser motor unit on our rooftop unit. You see some of the other projects that are near completion. You heard a little bit about a lot of those great things going on from Mr. Shomo. We're finishing up the RTUs and putting the new RTU at CMS above the office, which is going to be great for them. And we did award the building contract for the AgriScience building at Eastern View. So that work is starting along with that work inside Eastern View as well. And then it's kind of got messed up, it looks like, when we converted it over to a PDF, but now I'm on to food service, just showing you thanks to the CEP program being implemented at the middle schools. You can see the participation's up greatly from where it was last year. From 118,000 to almost 150,000 this year. We also are starting our Harvest of the Month program with Mallory Grady, our Farm to School associate. And this coming month in September, it's going to be sweet bell peppers. So if you visit one of our cafeterias, I'm sure they'll be happy to give you a sample. And we've also brought on a new staff member over at food service. Julie Johnston's the food service administrative assistant. So we're happy to have her because she assists us in managing all the things that food service does, as well as the free and reduced lunch applications and all those great things. Technology, we had a lot of tickets open and a lot closed, about 1,000 phone calls this last month. We did replace the Pixelot camera at CCHS Broman Field, which is what they use to stream live events and games. And we also put in a new Cisco router, which might not look like a whole lot, but it's actually very heavy and very expensive. So it's a great thing to have up there because that's going to help improve our network capabilities at Eastern View and really bring it up to the level it needs to be to handle the amount of traffic and the amount of demands on our network. Safe schools, I've kind of been cautioned about how much I tell you about how we're basically making our schools, a safer place, but at the same time without talking too much about our vulnerabilities, because we don't want to do that either. But I do want to let you know our security technician has continued doing training with the Emergency Operations Center on how to use our cameras, as well as still doing that work on the radios, making sure our inventory is up to date, and we are replacing radios as we need to or where the batteries don't meet our minimum requirements. And we're going to do some SRO training in the third week of September. We continue to replace cameras, which is important, especially some of the older ones or ones that are located in bad positions. And we're also adding the new numbering system as well. He's still working on that. As for transportation, last month we routed 7,225 students. This month we are down to 6,842. And there's a couple reasons why that happens. You heard that students didn't show up, or what we kind of call the 2-week purge. After 2 weeks and we don't see those kids, then we take them off the roll and we no longer stop at that stop or go down that road. So that's having an impact on how our buses are running. And it also kind of takes, I mentioned the ebb and flow of seasonal sports, but that plays a role, but it also changes the times from what the computer says. One of the things I did was I took the idea or the change in what we published was to pull some of those times out off of what was on our website. And the reason why we did that was because they weren't accurate. The reality is the computer does its best to figure out when the bus will be there, but the drivers know, and the drivers have figured out now where they cut their times, where they improve their times. And when I don't have to go up this road, it changes everything. So we are saving time on that as drivers make adjustments from their computer-generated scheduling. We've also learned a lot about turnaround locations. Supervisor Underwood has been in contact with me a lot about transportation, and one of the things he noticed by looking at the information we had on the website was, why does this bus go all the way out here? Well, because the bus can't turn around there because it's a private lane. Well, it turns out he kind of enlightened me to the idea that we have 50-foot right-of-way off of a public road. That bus can turn around there. So who knew? I didn't know. So with that information, we started turning those buses around, and it cut off 15 minutes from one of the routes, for example. We also are pushing back start times to prevent early arrivals. And what do I mean by that? If a bus gets to the school doesn't open until 7:05, and kids are sitting on the bus for more than 10 minutes, that means you can shave 10 minutes off of your pickup times. So part of the drivers are still figuring that out and making sure kids know, hey, I'm going to come 10 minutes later tomorrow. You get to sleep in 10 minutes, but you still have to be out on the road ready to get picked up. But that's just an example. Bus 29, just to kind of give you a visualization of what that route looks like, and you can see how there's pop-offs here and there, and I'm not showing you everything because I don't want to expose where these stops are per se, but the point is that it kind of follows a pretty straight line up 522, but previously one of the roads, Old Stillhouse, the driver would have to go all the way to Dunkard Church Road to make a turnaround, so that was way, way, way out to be able to do that. So that's helping us by having that resolution of being able to turn around in some places. We also are improving our efficiency in just our fuel costs thanks to our electric buses. The math got a little wonky here, but and what I did was I looked at daily what we were saving with our electric buses when it came to fuel costs. And another one of our vendors who actually provided us the charging station, they did it based on a monthly review. So this is my daily analysis, and it shows that diesel costs roughly for this bus, EV 145, it averages about 42.22 miles per day in terms of the route that this bus runs. We calculated how much miles per gallon. I just put an estimate, probably about 9 miles per gallon, how much it costs for our diesel. So about $15.55 per day if that was a diesel bus. And what do we actually pay for electric? Roughly $9 to charge it. So as a result, our savings is about $6.55 per day. And then we look at EV 146, which actually does 100 miles per day, and we start looking at how that plays out, and it goes up significantly more because for diesel, you're going to go greater distances, but it's still costing us just $9 per day to charge them. So the savings is far greater even with the amount of distance that's driven using the electric vehicles. And then finally, this is in-control charging. The folks who did a monthly audit for me, and they said you would have spent for the month of, looking back at the month of February, you would have spent $457 for your power. If you would have done that month on diesel, it would have been about $1,800. So they show us a real savings of about $1,343.62 when it comes to what we're saving with the electric buses. And then finally, I brought this in kind of last minute, but at the same time, because I've heard a lot from community members who have asked, well, what's that flag? Where'd that flag come from? What's that about? That looks like the flag for Cuba, you know, and that's the kind of comments I get from some folks. So I wanted to take a minute just because we're on TV and kind of explain that this is the freedom flag. It is a flag that is used by schools as the only official commemorative act that public schools do for 9/11. And it's flown in the morning, it's raised on September 11th, and it goes through the month. It has a total of 10 elements that represent, obviously you can see the Pentagon, but also the Twin Towers, and then they also have Flight 93 as well as the Pentagon as the two stripes on the side. Any questions?
The roof at CMS.
Yes.
I don't know whether CMS got any rain over the weekend. We did, a little.
Yeah.
Any leaks, any issues with the roof?
Not that I've heard, not that's been told to me, and I know the roof is 100% watertight on the top, so there shouldn't have been. But if there was, we probably would have gotten word pretty quick if we would have heard that
That's
happen.
great.
Yeah, it was great, absolutely.
Are there any other questions for Dr. O'Brien?
Thank you for all your work on transportation. I've heard really nice things in the community. I know you've put in a lot of time and effort with staff to get it flowing smoothly.
It's teamwork. Absolutely.
Anything else? Thank you, Dr. O'Brien.
Thank you.
Board member reports and comments this week. Let's start with Ms. Burnett.
Thank you so much. I wanted to reiterate the congratulations to all the FCC LA students and their wonderful achievements on their projects, very creative projects. Also wanted to thank CCHS, Blue Devil Pride, and sharing all the things that they shared with us, that they're doing wonderful stuff. The maker space is just fantastic. I love those fat heads. I hope that that can generate some revenue for you. And thank you, Ms. Sheeds, for your article on the missing teens. Appreciate that information. And also, thank you, Dr. Brads, for the heads up on that sales tax free day. And appreciate Dr. O'Brien letting us know of our savings with the electric vehicles. That's good stuff. And also the information on the freedom flag. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ms. Burnett. Ms. Desolé?
Thank you. I really enjoyed today's presentation by CCHS, and I just think I wanted to just mention how special it is that when you ask our students what they want to celebrate, that they picked all the different staff people that are so special that make the schools happen, and I thought that was really cool. So thank you to them for that, and I'm sure that's the same across all of our schools. It's very nice.
Thank you. Ms. Sluckenbill? Ms. Smith?
Really not a lot to say. I really noticed and took notice again of the pride with the coaches for the FCCLA, and also just the astounding excellence in our students. And I just think we can't celebrate that enough, the staff and the students. So it was a treat.
Thank you, Ms. Smith. Ms. Hutchins?
Several things. I've been trying to make my rounds to the schools, got to a few more today. I won't steal Floyd T. Binn's thunder, but oh my gosh, there's a gorgeous addition to that school, and I'm sure we'll be hearing more about that later. I'm thankful for the state's additional funding, finally maybe getting a budget. It's not finalized yet. And then there's something else. I have been involved in CCPS pretty much all my life. I started as a teacher, started as a student, teacher, parent, volunteer, substitute, and a school board member. So if you add up all those years, it's over 50 years that I've been involved with CCPS. And I think that probably tops everybody in this room, straight CCPS. And over the years, I've heard a lot of things. I mean, we've always heard parents, I'm sure my parents had things to say too. You're not strict enough, you're too easy, you're too strict, you give too much homework, you don't give enough homework. But never in all my years have I heard the rumors that I've heard in the last few months. It is appalling, it's distressing, it's demeaning, it's insulting. We do not have, and I'm not speaking to anybody in the room, because most of you already know this, we do not have litter pans in the bathrooms for students who identify as cats. And I'll say that again because the rumor has been said hundreds of times in our community. We do not have litter pans in the bathrooms for students who identify as cats. Another rumor is that we do not allow boys to use the girls' bathroom. That too is apparently running rampant through our community. And I'll say that again. We do not allow boys to use the girls' bathrooms. These rumors are deliberate attempts to spread fear and distrust to our school system. Every one of these board members sits up here every month, as we have tonight, and congratulated our staff and our administration, our students' excellent performance statewide, and it is insulting that these rumors, which have absolutely no basis, are being spread throughout this community. Whoever is spreading them has absolutely no understanding about what's going on in our schools. And people, it's just fear-mongering, and we don't need it because we're doing great things. Our staff is doing great things, and our students are doing great things. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Hutchins. Ms. Brown?
Yes, I concur with all that went on, which is how the last person usually does this. I posted on my Facebook page a while back that I was very tired of going to the middle schools to look for these mysterious litter boxes and have never found one. Although I have found a litter box in the ag department. They train the rabbit how to use the litter box, and I find that pretty appropriate and amazing. I wish I could train a rabbit to do something. But anyway, my comments tonight will end on two different things. One, I went to my class reunion over the weekend and met someone who worked in a group called Safe Surfing Foundations. And after retiring from the sheriff's department from my hometown and losing his wife, he decided he was ready to immerse himself in something else, and the something else was this organization that deals with trafficking. And during the conversation with everybody at your reunion with what are you doing, where are you living, all that, it came up that when he heard me say I was from Culpeper, oh, you're one of those places that has all the trafficking going on. and I about fell over. I do now truly believe that trafficking is an issue for Culpeper, the whole community. The schools may have some things they can do, but the whole community has a lot to have to do, including the parents and stuff, to let us know these things are going on instead of finding out about it some other way. So I do think we have a community problem that needs to be addressed in trafficking, more so now that I've heard it from someone that I've known for years. Not that I discount you, Ms. Sheeds, whatsoever, but that one was pretty striking for me. And the other thing I will say is, having watched the news from all these places, we are beyond blessed in this community with all the problems and things that we have to live in a community where, thank you, whatever you believe in, that we're not having to discuss ball games and shootings, or a security person going out to break up a fight just off the edge of school property because he sees kids fighting and ends up shot in the head laying in the ground. We as a community have to speak up when we see things going through. We have to get our kids to understand they need to speak up so that we can help them with problems. And we really have to get to, you have to say something if something seems wrong, so that we don't go down the road a lot of other schools have, and not schools that are too far away from us. To say we live in this, little cocoon called Culpeper, no, we live in a world that's changing much more faster than any of us ever dreamed. And when you think about that for our young people, you have to be struck a little bit with the amount of responsibility that people in school hold. And so with that, I'd like to say, again, thank you for our teachers who let us be staffed more than just about any other place around here. Our buses that may not be perfect, but hey, we're not canceling buses just because you live on a certain route and sorry, your bus driver decided he isn't taking you anymore. We have answers and things for us that come from the people that work for us. And that is something to really feel that you've been blessed. And so I guess I would like to conclude by saying that I do, and I hope all you do too. And thank you to this community and to our kids and parents and workers.
Thank you, Ms. Brown. Are there any other comments? Then we will go on with information items. On board docs, there is a summary of the CCSB committee reports. That's the school board committee reports. The membership is also listed there, August 31st, 2023. Employee appreciation, the Family Resource Center staff, September 18th through 22nd. The Principal and Assistant Principal Appreciation Week, October 2nd through 6th. And the Transportation Department Appreciation Week, October 16th through 20th. Our future meetings include capital planning on September 13th, the Administration Committee meeting on September 19th. The next business work session will be September 25th, and the Finance Committee meeting, the next one will be October 9th, followed by a regular board meeting on October 9th. There is a need to go into closed session. I have two hands. So, yes. Yes, we do. Ms. Smith, would you read a motion to go into closed session?
Yes, the motion to go into closed session, the motion is that the school board convene a closed session at 7:24 p.m. to consider the following personnel matters pursuant to the Code of Virginia 2.2-3711A1, the appointment of certified personnel, the appointment of classified personnel, the transfer of classified personnel, the separation of certified personnel, separation of classified personnel, the approval of a part-time capital projects manager, the approval of a maintenance electrical co-op student, the approval of substitutes for the 23-24 school year, the approval of 23-24 amended fall coaching supplements for CCHS and EVHS, and the discussion of student matters related to named student A, religious exemption, as permitted by the Code of Virginia 2.2-3711A2.
Is there a second?
Second.
Discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Motion carries. A 10-minute break. Thank you, everyone, for coming.